Okay.
Hey everybody, welcome to another terrible podcast by comics. I'm Eerie Diamond, your host. Hello. Well, you know what? I'm going to have them introduce themselves. Hey, Derek, why don't you start? You're kind of quiet, so let's get you started. Derek,
Am I quiet?
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, my name's Derek Zemrak. I've been a filmmaker, a producer, member of the Producers Guild of America, Screen Actors Guild, comedy. Haven't done it for a while, but still doing it. Own movie theaters, an accountant I think that's my third personality as an accountant. And the fifth personality is actually a real estate developer. So yeah, that's about it.
Got a whole closet of hats.
whole closet of hats.
A lot of different hats. Don't forget, you also own a wine bar that's connected to the Orinda Theater.
Yes, I own the Orinda Theater, and then also I'm in the wine bar right now. We're still not open because the space is really tiny, but I'm in the wine bar right now. So we were actually setting up today, hopefully that on June 15th we can open up. So we were cleaning. So yeah.
And you own two movie theaters?
No, luckily I sold one of them in 2019. I sold the other one. So I just kept the Orinda. So yeah, going through a pandemic with two movie theaters would be tough. It was tough enough with one, but yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, your theater is actually super beautiful. So I'm excited that it's going to be opening back up and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. The theater is open, and we were actually in a magazine in France. We were listed as the 25th most beautiful cinema in the world, not only in the Bay Area, but the world. And the other Bay Area film theaters was the Castro and the Grand Lake Theater. So it was actually movie theaters, not, performing arts theaters. So yeah, so we were pretty proud of that. So
I can't remember. I'm a Bay Area native, but I live in San Luis Obispo now. But that was like an Art Deco theater, right?
Yeah. It was built in 1941. It was supposed to open on December 7th, 1941. But what happened? I'm gonna quiz you guys. What happened on that day?
I know, it was pretty infamous.
Yeah. Pearl Harbor Day. Yes. So it did not open until December 27th. So yeah, it's beautiful. And actually during the pandemic, we had a lot of time to actually do a lot of discovery, cleanup, restoration. We restored all the neon back to the blueprints that we found from 1941.
When you reopen, I'm sorry to interrupt. When you reopen to go with the history, are you going to play Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor?
Yeah, we probably should. That would be a good thing.
and also, by the way, the 27th of December was also a terrible day. That was the day my mom and dad got married. So, which ended tragically. So, with a divorce.
So that puts us all together.
Yeah,
puts us all together.
Yeah, it puts it all full circle.
It's that day in history.
So it's so awesome. So and a couple of things too. You do go you review movies and
yes. Oh, sorry. I completely forgot those things. I actually do movie reviews for 4 radio stations currently in California, in the Bay Area, and also up in Sacramento. And I also on KTVU, Fox 2, doing movie reviews. And during the pandemic, it was all updates of what's happening with the movie industry. So that's kind of what I do.
Very cool. Very cool. You do a lot of stuff.
I think you keep looking at my crotch. I'm not quite sure what you keep leaning over for.
I'm looking at the chat, but I don't have my glasses on, so I have to kind of
No, I know. I'm just kidding.
Get a little bit close to see the chat, but yeah, if anybody there's not a ton of us here, but anybody wanted to chime in. Deneen is actually sort of my unofficial co-host. So she always has really good questions and stuff. So Billy, tell me a little bit about yourself, my friend.
My name is Billy Beyrer. I'm from New York. Actor, comedian, sometimes bartender. I've been produced sketches, and I've toured up and down the East Coast. I've done TV stuff. I've done commercials, blah, 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 blah. Avid moviegoer, so I'm actually really, I'm really impressed with Derek's resume. I'm kind of like, I'm like, oh shit, that's pretty. That's just owning the theater itself and having to go through the year you went through. That's going to be insane, and I applaud you for sticking with it because we need to keep theaters alive. Yeah, that's about pretty much it. I'm kind of boring. Like I just.
You're not boring at all. You know what I love about
I'm
Billy?
humble.
He does some like regular acting, but then every once in a while he'll do like a bit part on something, and he's like, "All right, I'm on the show," and we'll. What I was telling Billy, we actually watched New Amsterdam, which we do not watch. So waiting for Billy. We were like, "Come on, Billy!" No idea what was going on because I don't watch that show. I had no idea who the characters were. Like, come on, Billy. And then it was like, it's Billy. Like, and
Was
what
it Works number 2?
tell us about
No, I was Kevin. I was granted a name. I worked 2 days, so I got credit. I was a bumbling holder of fluorescent light bulbs. I've done a bunch of that kind of stuff. I was talking to Eerie about it yesterday. Like, it's credit. Work's work. You know, you can't really. This I played a killer on one of those investigation discovery shows. I've done commercials where I'm like a duck hunter hunting like Twizzlers. And I blew up John Voight and Ray Donovan last year.
Oh, you were the one who did that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cool.
So it's the business is weird. Like sometimes you get stuff where you talk, sometimes you don't. Whatever, I don't care. It's credit. It's residuals. If you pay me.
You have a great attitude.
really
Vin.
cool. And I
It's
just
fun
want
to
you to-
see people you recognize.
and here's the thing, Billy. You do realize I just saw a whole thing on oh shit, what's his name? Grimes, what's his name? Gang member number 3. That was the name of his biography. He's on here.
That one Spanish guy who's in everything.
He's the one who he always plays like the bad guy.
Hey, Trejo.
It's
Danny Trejo.
Machete.
Danny Trejo.
Yes, it's Machete. Yes, it's
Yeah,
Danny
Danny
Trejo.
Trejo.
And he did that for the first 20 years of his career. He was just playing, his part would be like third prison gang guy. Like it was like
We actually served Danny's beer here at the wine bar and in the theater.
oh,
He has a
really?
beer. Yeah, came out a couple months ago.
He
So.
seems like such a great guy. He really
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the nature of the beast. That's just the way the business rolls. Like you get what you get, and I don't mind. Like what works. So it's like I've been at this for. I moved out here permanently July 2001. I didn't get into SAG until like 2019. So it was a. Now I just want consistency and health insurance. I don't need
Right.
fortune and glory. Just let me just keep doing it, having fun, regardless of what the extent of the role. If you want to give me more, cool. That means I get paid more. Either way, just like I said, credit me, and I'm fine.
I think it's really cool, Billy. You don't have to throw it away. I think it's awesome. And it's
I've done awesomer stuff than just
also,
dropping light
also,
bulbs.
if you do anything that's up for like an Academy Award or anything, hit up Derek because he actually gets to vote. So
yeah.
It's the long game. It's the long game for your
The long
consideration. Just yeah. I like it.
welcome for being booked on this podcast. No,
Billy, I'm kind of surprised, Billy. I would have thought you were from Texas with that accent.
I know. It's understandable. It floats. So because I got cousins in New England, so sometimes my accent will float. My New York will become a little bit of Boston.
Right.
Certain little words will just float right out there. I don't know what's going on. But we were talking about, Eerie was talking about where I'm half Queens, half Long Island. And I actually I was up for a Blue Point Brewery commercial once. And Blue Point Brewery it's in Patchogue, Long Island, 2 towns over from my own town. I go into the audition, I do the whole spiel, and one of the lines was like, "Oh, we get our bar stools from the forest off Route 132." I do the thing, and they're like, "Oh, can you just turn the accent down a little bit? It's a little forced." And I'm like, "What?" It doesn't. It just seems a little too much. I'm like, "I'm from there." Also, while we're on the subject, Route 132, where you going? Fucking Glens Falls? On Route 110. Also, there's no forests on Long Island. There's a lot of woods, no forests. So you want the line to be off the woods of Route 110. And they're like, "Cool, thank you for coming."
You didn't get it?
Didn't get it.
The directors don't like it when you scold them.
Although the best New York accent piece of direction I got, I was doing Law and Order Special Victims Unit, and I got the job. I don't know how I got the job.
Oh my God, who were you? Wait, let me just ask you one question really quick. Were
Yes.
you the guy who's still working even though the murder police are there to question you? Were you the bartender that remembers everybody, even though New York bartenders don't remember shit, okay? That guy, I remember him. He was over in the corner. His lady wasn't too happy though. Like that whole thing. Like, tell me, please. I can't.
I was up for motorcycle tough guy number 1.
Okay.
It was like giving them the runaround. They were looking for some other guys. Like, "Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about." Blah, blah, blah. Some other guy. And the other one was racist protester number 3, where I was screaming a bunch of anti-Muslim rhetoric. Where in the script it literally says, "Chant 9/11 like you're at a baseball game."
You call your mom and go, "Mom, Dad, I got another role."
Well, what happened was I go to the callback. I got called back, and my head was shaved, my beard was fuller. I'm in like denim and hoodies and all with skulls and shit. I'm like really ready to be both either motorcycle tough guy number 1 or anti-Muslim racist. And I'm walking in there and I'm all like fucking hard ass and like, "Oh, this is the director, Michael Pressman." And then all of a sudden I was just like, Michael Pressman? And I just got a flash of my childhood bedroom of a giant poster of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze. And right at the bottom was directed by Michael Pressman. So I was just like, I go from Mr. Tough Guy to like, Michael Pressman? Secret of the Ooze? And he's like, "Yeah." And all the writers are laughing. He's like, "I did a Ninja Turtle." So I do the audition. Everyone's laughing, which is weird because I'm screaming anti-Muslim shit.
And they're laughing.
Yeah. And it's Law and Order Special Victims Unit, so it's not really known for its comedy. I do 9/11. It was weird. I ended up booking the job. I booked the job. But this is where I was getting at, to make a short story long. I'm screaming, "Go home, Muslims," on the steps of the courthouse. "Go home, Muslims. This is our country." But this is our country. I got a little too New Yorkie. The director gets out from behind the crane and like walks down through the people, just whispers in my ear, and he's like, "Less Raph, more Leo."
Oh wow.
Referring to the Ninja Turtles and their accent. And I immediately was like,
Love it.
"You know exactly what you're talking
Best note ever.
Oh yeah. And then they called me a week before to scream more stuff in ADR. And I did the exact same thing I did with you, where I promoted it's the season finale. I'm in the last 5 minutes of the 2-hour season finale. They cut the line. And I'm just like, but credit was given, and I've gotten hundreds upon hundreds of dollars of residuals ever since. Thanks, USA Network.
Oh, poor thing. Your line in New Amsterdam. You know what? Do the line for us right now that you had a New Amsterdam as well, so that we could.
That's like a hospital show, right?
Yeah.
As much as I know too.
Now,
I had a mask on, so I was. Hold on, let me see where it's like.
Let me set up the scene. He's handing a guy on the ladder fluorescent bulbs. Okay, that's okay. I set you up. Go,
and,
Bill.
and then they fall. I'm like, and they yell, Kevin, and I'm like, sorry.
Cut that line.
Good eye acting.
Yes.
With a mask, you gotta like.
Acting is in the eyes. You gotta have the eyes.
Oh yeah,
sure.
I was a big fan of Christopher Lloyd growing up. Who did everything. It was just and a little bit of a little Lithgow in there too.
Little Lithgow. I love it. I love it. I love it. Derek, so I want to know what got you into this? Like what got you into producing? I mean, you basically produce movies, you produce TV shows, I was in something that Derek produced, and
yes.
Thank you again, by the way.
Yes.
I'm very proud
Big
of that.
dog. Big dog.
Big dog. You can get it on Amazon. And
yes.
And oh no, this is the best story about that though. This is the best story about that. Derek calls me up because I want you to I think you'd be good. You should audition for this part. He sends me the script. I'm reading the script and I'm like, this doesn't sound like me. And then like 3 pages in, it's like, and then the bad sister comes in. I'm like, oh, there I am. That's probably me. Brassy and sassy. I'm like, oh yeah. Okay, now I see. And then I call him up and I go, let me guess. Am I the bad sister? And he goes,
yeah. What else could it be, right?
I just
thought
thought
the word ass, badass sister.
I thought of you immediately. I'm like, well, thanks, Derek. I don't know if I'm or I'm not quite sure, but anyway.
That's what it is, That's what casting is all about, It
was a fun project, though. I gotta say. Okay.
Yeah.
So Derek,
how I started. I mean, I started it. Huh?
How did you fall into all this? That's like.
Yeah, I actually, when I first graduated from high school, I decided, I was going to be an actor. Well, that didn't work out. But when I was on the sets and stuff, I was just watching, and saying, wow, this could be this could be that, and I did some day play roles, stuff like that. I got SAG card and all that. But I was living up here and not in Los Angeles. And back then, I mean, now it's a little easier with auditions online and everything. And Billy probably can testify to that.
Yeah,
so it was like I knew I actually was up for a role at Melrose Place for a guest role. Ooh. And the guy who walked in and me walking out, we looked at each other, we both laughed and said, where's your father from? Because we were like identical twins. Yeah. And that's when they know when they're casting, you know exactly what you want and what you're looking for. I mean, it was like we were twins. I didn't get the role, he got the role. But I ended up on Babylon 5, so that was okay. But anyway,
I've been in those casting rooms. You walk in, and I like the breakdown. I'll be like, balding, overweight, slow, and I'll just sit there and I'll look at the living room. I'll look at the living room. I'll look at the couch of a couple dudes, and I'm just like, so this is the fat schlub room, and they're all like, yeah. It's sometimes it's very weird.
Yeah, it is weird. And then, so I decided, you know what? I just didn't have what needed to be as an actor. I didn't want to give it full time, and I was going to college and I was doing that. And I said, you know what? If I'm not going to put 100% in it, I'll go back to it later. So fast forward, then I then went, graduate from college, became, on a boring accountant, and just started. All my friends that were still in film school, still doing acting and stuff, kept saying, oh, we're going to make an independent film. Let's make an independent film. And then 6 months come by, and still nobody's made a film. So my wife and I were going to Paris, and I started writing a script based on a short story that my sister wrote about a horror film in an ice cream shop, right? It's perfect, right? You got all kinds of stuff you can kill people with an ice cream shop, the can openers and all that good stuff. So I rewrote into a screenplay, and I came back with my buddies and said, okay, let's come on around to meet with everyone. Threw down the script. I said, here's the script. We're going to start casting in a month. We're going to start shooting. We're going to make this movie. So that's what happened. It was called Ice Cream, ice cream. Okay. Really extremely low budget film. And then.
You okay? You killed Billy. You killed Billy.
Sorry.
Your movie.
I was choking.
Billy, that's a horror film.
So then from there, it was kind of a fluke that I actually got in the LA Times on Thanksgiving listed as one of the best turkeys films ever made. They did a list of the top 10, and my little tiny movie Ice Cream, that was at that time was on VHS, got written up as one of the best of the worst movies ever made. So from there, it just started flowing, and I got nominated for 2 B movie awards. We didn't win, but I got nominated. And it was just like, from there, it just kind of steamrolled into what do you do next? And I kind of fell into the horror genre for a while because it's the simplest one to do. I mean, there's a broader market. Yeah. So then I decided, back then, this was late 90s. Yeah, late 90s. And then I wanted to do like a bikini movie. So I actually did a movie called Bikini Planet, which was an all-female planet that lived off silicone and stored the silicone on their breast. So that can tell you what it's all about. And we just had a lot of fun making the movie. And it was so funny because when I went to call distributors at the time, they were like, "Oh, you're the one who made that movie Ice Cream, right?" And I'm like, "Shit, how did anybody know?" But obviously it was in the LA Times, and that's what happened. So I just went from one movie to another, and they got somewhat better as we went along. But I went into genres at first, into the horror film, and then what we call TNA. I got an interesting story about the Bikini Planet. What's TNA? That's tits and ass.
Okay. Well, no, I know what TNA is. I didn't know. I was really hoping it meant something else in like the movie world. But
no. But I got a funny
non-stop action.
Yeah, I got an interesting story with that, because when we were casting for Bikini Planet, I was like, I had a buddy of mine who was in the original Ice Cream. He was gonna, be in the movie with me. And I said, John, we got to find a lot of girls who want to do this type of movie. So at that time, they had those like little rag papers where they had like these seminars. Well, Nina Hartley, the porn star, was giving a seminar on how to break into the porn business. I go, this is perfect. In San Francisco, we can go in, we can meet all the girls and sign them up, right? We're not asking them to do porn. They just have to run around in, half naked, bikinis, right? So it's so funny. We got there, and I was in, nicely dressed, and it was like, oh, this is going to be really, really cool. I'm going to make an impression, and Nina Hartley and all this stuff. And we walk in, and I turned around and I walked out, and John walks in, he walks out, he goes, "You're thinking the same thing as I am?" I say, "Yeah." There was no guys there. They were all like 70-year-old men who wanted to meet Nina Hartley. There was nobody there. So there was no girls there at all. Zero. So, and I don't know if you guys, I mean, Billy probably knows who Nina Hartley is, but she was in Boogie Nights.
Yeah,
the one who gets screwed in, in the driveway.
Playboy channel, yeah.
Yeah. And so anyways, it was so funny because
just remember the ending of Boogie Nights. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. You would.
She has a lisp.
Yeah. So I asked that specific question that Eerie, you just asked me. I had asked, I said, "Hey, listen, Nina, we're trying to cast a film here. It's a TNA film." And Nina Hartley goes, "What's TNA?" And I'm like, "Oh, tits and ass." And then she, but anyways, we made no connections with it. Yes, Nina Hartley is a porn actress. Okay. Yes.
I actually met Nina Hartley I used to work, I worked at a sex shop in San Francisco, and I was the toy buyer, and I went to the adult it's
convention.
It's the convention in Vegas that always happens, to buy toys for the shop, and all the porn stars, and it was very interesting. And I got a bunch of crazy samples of everything. It was insane.
Was that good vibes, Eerie?
No, I actually worked.
I don't know how I know that, but I was just curious.
Yeah, I know how you know it, Deneen.
Jesus.
Billy's like going, "How did we get to this podcast talking about porn and sex toys?"
Talk slower.
That's the best place to do it. No, I worked at Stormy Leather. Stormy Leather, and I actually originally started working there for the corsets and stuff, and the leather gear and all the fun things, because I'm like I'm an old old goth. So it was for the discount on all like the leather corsets and the bustiers and the leather bras and all the fun stuff. The rubber clothes and all the great stuff that you wear when you go out to clubs when you're young. And I ended up being the toy buyer there. And so it was interesting because I was super like, I was a little bit too shy to have that job, but then I quickly changed. So like, yeah, I went from like whispering stuff like, "Hi, do you have any butt plugs?" to like, "Hi, how big does this butt plug get?" Like, is it like, I just completely flipped over that. But yeah, that was fun. Anyway, yes, Nina Hartley, that is hilarious.
Yes.
By the way, yeah, it's not. There's no girls there. It's
all old men.
Only there to work.
Yes.
It's not like they're running around going. Yeah, no, they're not.
But I did learn from her, like somebody she had said, do you know if you can do porn, at this time, because there was no Viagra at that point, right? Mm-hmm. And she had said, listen, this is what you got to do. She says, all you guys think you have rock hard dick, you can go for it, whatever. They said, this is what you need to do. She said, you need to call 12 of your buddies. Tell them to come to your apartment or house at 9:00. When you tell them the door will be open, you have to be stark naked in the middle of the living room, jack off. And if you can continue with all your buddies laughing at you, you can do porn.
Oh my God.
That's exactly what she said.
That's fantastic.
So that was my biggest takeaway from that event was, okay.
That's going in the teaser reel. That is amazing. Oh my
Classic.
God.
So from there, I just started, huh?
It seems like you kind of just fell into it. Like
I just fell into it. And then it's just like, then you go to another thing. That I produced a film for Warner Brothers, and I did a TV movie for Animal Planet. And then I did the film with James Franco. So it just keeps rolling.
Franco directed me in The Deuce. What did you do for Franco?
King Cobra. Talking about porn.
Gotcha.
It wasn't a porn, but it's based on a murder in the porn industry. So yeah, there was James Franco, Christian Slater, Molly Ringwald, Alicia Silverstone. Oh, nice. Great cast. Did very well. Actually, Netflix bought the film. I mean, how many times? 100 times more than they paid for U.S. rights than in Europe. Europe was way more for the film, just because it was so edgy. And that's why, getting to Boogie Nights, like I said before, when I read the script, because I got a script from a producer, that knew me and said, hey, would you like to get involved in this project? I read the script and I'm like going, this is a great script. This is really like Boogie Nights based on a true story, but this character happens to be gay. But it's like, okay, we're jumping from Boogie Nights 20 years later. The U.S. is ready for this script. It's so edgy. It's so good. Mm-hmm. We went to Tribeca. We won at Tribeca. Sold out 2 screenings. We were like, oh my God, this is going to be great. And the theatrical didn't work. I got to blame it on the distributor. IFC bought the film, and they were specifically targeting it, I felt, for the gay community. And with that cast, it had a crossover that could have worked. And in Europe, it did. In the United States, it did not. So that's where it's at. So,
yeah. I did an episode of The Deuce that he directed. Okay. I got to work with him on that.
Who were you? I love that show.
I was just a guy hitting on a waitress in the cold open of the 3rd season.
Nice.
It was in a diner, and most of the day I was bullshitting in between setups and having the extras laugh, and just because I'm just bored. And then no one knew that he was actually directing. He was behind a curtain in the kitchen. I knew he was, but like it was just the rest of the extras didn't. And then it was like 3:00 in the morning. I'm mumbling on about this, that, the other, and then one of the extras like, who you remind me of? You remind me of who's the Rogan? What's his name? Seth Rogen.
The Rogan.
Oh
and then I'm like, shit, because I get that entirely. And then out comes Franco from the kitchen. He's like, don't ever say that about him again. Don't ever say that again. First of all, he's nothing like Seth. Seth speaks English. And then and I'm like, Touche.
Wow.
Well, Franco's kind of on the hot seat now, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Billy, I want to know, so how did you get started in acting? Like, how did you?
When I was younger, I did school plays. Kind of, yeah. I always kind of, I was the youngest of like the very youngest of 5. My oldest siblings are like 20 years older than I am. And I was very quiet. I was a wise ass fat kid at home, but like a very quiet kid in school. And then I went to, it was 7th grade. I went to they did a production of like Oliver, and I was watching this. I'm like, I could do this, no problem. I go backstage, and they had like the next year was like 1997, and it was like 1997 ? And I had the yellow brick road. So I was like, oh, they're gonna do the Wizard of Oz next year. I'm like, all right, no problem. So I bought the videotape, played it twice a day all through the summer, showed up at the audition in the fall, and then I was the Cowardly Lion.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. I said Cowardly Lion. That's it.
Well, that was probably like the most like I had it down audition. Like you walk in, I'm 8th grade, but you walk in and like there's a kid who's like the paper in front of him, like, I do believe in spooks. I do believe in spooks. I do. And I'm like, come on, you don't know this? Fuck you.
So wait a minute.
And then I go, I do believe in spooks. I do believe in spooks. I do.
Did you have that voice already? That deep voice?
I watched the video twice a day and kind of just.
I know, but I'm just saying, did you already have that deep voice of yours?
Yeah, when I was like a child, like, hi, Ma.
You're in 8th grade. I don't know.
I couldn't.
Billy came out of the womb. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Oh, God. Wait, I'm hungry. Pull your tit out. No, I don't. Yeah, and then ever since I kind of just stuck with it, and then I got more into. I did all the shows in high school. Trained in college. That's where I kind of fell into improvisation because I blanked during a play where I was on stage the entire time, and I'm too stubborn to call line. And it was a courtroom scene, so I would say something I knew it was clearly wrong because I saw the person playing the defendant was like, "What the fuck?" And I would just be like, "Strike that. I'll rephrase." And then I just kept fucking up until I figured out what the hell I was trying to say. And then the professor was like, you know, you really kind of got yourself out of that. You should probably get into improvisation. And then I did that. I worked with I worked at the UCB in New York for a while. I was part of a company that toured up and down the East Coast. I did a show for 12 years, which was improvisational based, but it was like a scavenger hunt, but with a plot. You bought your tickets online. You get a phone call from like a mob boss. Like, you got to meet me here at this place this time. You go to the South Street Seaport. You find these clues. There's people hidden throughout the city you got to find. I was a schizophrenic bum on the Brooklyn Bridge for 12 years. It was a fun time. It paid. I got $300 a day just dick with
her. Say that. I was like, yeah, but it paid. I'm like, no, it's cool that you did it.
I know, but what's even cooler is I was able to just live off that. Like it was like really that's what I'm saying. I mean, like that. It's like it was my job for a long time. And then just kind of stuck with it. I got it's just who I always felt performing just became a natural thing. And I produced a couple sketches with some friends. There's a couple. There's an old sketch. I still do improvisation with my buddy Brendan. We're doing a show this Thursday at QED Astoria, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've been working together for about 16 years. We did a bunch of sketches together. You can see the progression of our writing style and B, as better filmmakers. From the first thing, which is just a funny concept, but it's 12 minutes long. It's entirely way too long. And then up until like from a couple of years ago, where it's like, oh, it's more tight knit, bang, 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 and actually looks like it could be on television now. So it's just I don't know how to describe it. What got me into it? I just did it, and it's who I am, and I don't forcing myself doing anything else.
Okay. So first of all, I think it's amazing. Did you go to college and study acting, or did you
I studied acting. I was at LaGuardia College in Queens. I was there for 2 years, 4 technically. But then after that, I stopped, and I started working. I got a real job because I was still with my mother, and she's like, "You gotta get a job, gotta get a job, gotta get a job." So I started working for UPS, and I delivered the Muppets.
What?
I delivered the Muppets.
Yeah, come again. What are you talking about?
I delivered Muppets, like Fozzie the Bear, to the Saturday Night Live offices.
Cool.
In 2004.
Okay.
And I went downstairs. I go to my supervisor. I have 2 weeks vacation coming up, right? He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I'm taking it." That's also my notice. This job peaked. I didn't know what to do for about a month. Finally, I ended up working at a marketing company that was for a comedy club, and just from working with them, about a month, they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Just working." They're like, "Do you want to do the show tonight?" I'm like, "Okay." And then I got involved with one of their improv troupes, and I did stand up for a while. It's not my thing. I applaud everyone who does it. I can help tweak and help write it. I can't. It's not. I get very anxious about it. It gives me really big anxiety. So I can't. Yeah. So I applaud everyone who does it. It's not me. But I got involved with the improv people there, and it was 1 show a week, became 2, became 3. We started selling out. Like, what the fuck?
Wow.
10 shows a week. We started touring. It was a lot. And like, I started the job in January as working for the marketing company. By October, we're opening the Underground New York Comedy Festival with a decree from like Mayor Bloomberg. It was surreal.
Wow.
Like, what the fuck?
So cool though.
So that's, and it kind of, I left them the following year, and then I was on the bridge. And then I kind of I learned through just experience and just doing, just learn through doing and learning through, and then, I started doing commercials, learning more professional set work, more kind of just, other than us just dicking around with the camera. And just huff and puff, eventually blew the house down and kind of started getting, I signed with my manager who worked with, and I credit them for having me, just stick it with me, because I signed with them in 2014. I didn't really start it took 3 years before I actually booked something. And I was up for like, the Rhino in the last Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. I was up for stuff in like The Irishman. Like, I auditioned for Spielberg. Just any name you could just feel like dropping. I did. But it was not until I started booking stuff, then it became like bang, 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 bang.
This is turning into like 6 Degrees of Billy Bobby. You know that?
Yeah.
I was an extra in Sweet Home Alabama with Fred Ward, who was in Tremors with Kevin Bacon.
Okay.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Legit.
I knew it would come around to Kevin Bacon eventually. Wow. So you tried comedy.
Yeah, stand-up was not, but I stuck with just improv and sketch. Improv, I tend to excel with, because it's more, it's elemental. It's more just it's of the moment. Where like stand-up, it's like, that's clearly your material. It's clearly yours. If you bomb, it's your fault. It's your fault. You suck. Like, you suck that day. You sucked that day. You sucked at that time. Like, yes, you could blame the crowds, blame this and the other. So, but when you're always going to point the finger back at yourself. Whereas improvisation, if you have an off night, who cares? It was made up on the spot. It's still very much like, oh, well, that's good. Well, I know what they were trying to do. Like, you still get very much. It's like you less. I mean, I've recorded sets. I have a recorded set from a month ago that we did, and we murdered the place. Absolutely, just mowed the place down. I watched the video, like should have done this, should have done this, should have done this, should have done this. So we're always going to be self-critical, but I improvisational and sketch, because it's more of an acting into it. Like you're a character.
Also, do you feel like because you're acting off of people, it helps too?
Yes, it's having being a team sport.
People are picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, which was hard when I was doing the bridge show. Like it was just me, and all I have to do is I have a blurb of like plot I have to get out, but I'm improvising off of like strangers.
Yeah.
So that was harder, but it was more intimate because there's only like groups of 8 to 10 every half hour, and after doing it for 12 years, you've heard every response there is to know, so you know exactly what kind of pivot, almost like a crowd work. It's pretty much just doing crowd work, but for 8.
Yeah.
Wow. but they're all doing a mission and not just like trying to have their nachos and don't want to be talked to.
Right. Derek,
yes.
you've done comedy a little bit here and there.
Yes.
And what did you think? What was your feeling about it?
I mean, actually, I loved it
because
for me, it was like very surreal, and it was like, okay, in that moment in time, that's all I could think about, being on stage and just performing, because I think it was more of a performance than, and I think you're absolutely right where you talked about the acting. I mean, acting is a little different because you're acting from the line before you. It's like Billy tells me to fuck off and I say fuck you, or I just say fuck you, whichever way, the script has it. But I mean, for comedy, I loved it. And I mean, I actually did some in the East Coast. I did in Florida. I was like doing quite a bit. Every time my son was a college baseball player, and every time I'd have my agent in New York book me in the city that he actually was playing. So I was pretty busy. But I was kind of on vacation, watching my son playing baseball. And it just got too time consuming to be able to write all the time, because what I hate is like a comic is like the same material all the time. It's exactly the same for years. I mean, I know some people that are doing the same thing they did 20 years ago. They're doing the same thing. And for me personally, I think you have to constantly change. So I had, different people writing for me too, because I'm not a writer in the sense of, of comedy, but I felt like somebody could write me the stuff, I could deliver the stuff. So it was like, I had different people, writing and that kind of stuff, but I loved it. Last night we had a comedy show in Orinda with Kabir Singh, and, they're all like going, you coming back? And I'm like, well, you guys got to inspire me to do it again. Huh?
Corday was
there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm a big fan. I don't do comedy. I'm just a big fan.
Okay. Yeah. And it was really, Jeremy Curry was there. I mean, it was a fun night, and, I kind of missed it because I haven't done it for so long, I mean, now, we had that 1 year that, we kind of lost the whole year. So it's probably been 3 years at least that I've actually gone out there and done anything. So yeah, but I mean, maybe again, but I think it's going to be focused. Either someone's going to be writing or I got to be writing again. So it's like, that's the thing with it, with comedy. I think you got to spend time. It's just like anything else that you do. You got to, like I said, way back when I was doing acting, I knew I couldn't give 100%. So if you can't do 100%, then I think you just have to do, you just decide not to do it. And that's what I did, because it was like, you got to go to the open mics, you got to do this, you got to do, you got to constantly do it. And I got busy in a lot of projects that I just couldn't do.
It's a muscle. Again. You got to keep working it out.
Right.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The first live show I did, which was like maybe 4 months ago, was an outdoor show. 4 or 5 months ago. I think it was in November, I think, but it was weird. I hadn't been up in front of human people in a long time. Like I've been, and it was really weird. I was 100% more nervous than I normally was. It was really weird. And yeah, it's one of those things where it's like when you go up, every time you go up, it gets a little bit easier.
Right.
It's the hardest thing. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. But I sure, boy, when you get that payback, just when they laugh and you're like, like
yeah. No, for sure. I mean, it's just like, live theater. You get the instant response, from people, whereas film and TV, it's like the only one you gotta, impress is the casting director, the producers in that room, and then you're gone, and you don't know really how you did until you see it eventually. But
and then it's even more awkward now doing self tapes.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you just send it out, you're like, okay, I guess this is it. This is
Yeah, it's.
I had that dumb light bulb thing. I had to self tape that. I had a step ladder. I had a cookie sheet on this shelf, and I had to walk. And I was just like, and I recorded the other dialogue that was going on, and then I played it back remotely on my computer. So I'm just reacting to my own self,
right?
While I'm down, and I knocked the thing down. I'm like, sorry. And then I said to my manager, I'm like, this is the stupidest thing.
Anybody was watching you, they would think you were crazy.
It was
fireworks.
It was just, sometimes it's just this, but you gotta be able
there is fireworks.
No, it's fireworks. Or I can see them. Someone's shooting off bottle rockets over there.
I think last time I did stand up, I think it was 2017. I was actually out in the Bay Area. I was visiting our mutual friend Chelsea Beers, and she put me up on some show, and I'm like, all right, like I haven't done it in a while, but fine. So I just thought I just wrote a set like that night, did it. It went okay. It was fine. The headliner was show. It was okay. And then like the headliner showed up, like, but he wasn't there the entire time. He showed up and he does his 25 minutes, and like 10 of his minutes was almost like everything I did. So I was like, I was, but he couldn't possibly have known. He couldn't possibly have known because he was not in the room. So it was just one of those things. I'm like, all right, I'm on the right track, but this is still not me. Like it was just a fun little like, okay, so I can still write it. I just can't. I can't.
And I think also with comedy, I mean, you have to really know the audience that you're performing in, because I mean, as you know, Eerie, someone like in Orinda is completely different than in the city, or the city's different than when I performed in Florida. It was like I walked into the bar that where the comedy show was, and they had a sign, not just a handwritten, but it was like a metal sign. It said, "This establishment is politically incorrect. We stand for that." First thing I said was to the producer that was putting on the show, I said, "Don't say I'm from San Francisco, okay? Just say West Coast is fine," because they would kill me. I went into the bathroom, and the urinals all had a Kaepernick jersey sticker that you pissed on. And it was like, do not say I live in San Francisco. It was like, but you just had to change up quickly what you were doing to the audience. So
the ironic thing though, the sticker was on like the child urinal, so you have to take it.
Oh no. But no, Derek's right. I always tell, as an audience member, my comedy, Eerie knows, my comedy friends say, "Oh, how did I do?" Hey, I work for the man. I like being an ordinary working stiff, so that 401k, PTO, all that. I'm happy. But you're right, Derek. I always say you need to, just know your audience. So right on.
Well, that's what I did one time when I was performing at a gay club in the city, and I said, okay, I got to sit there and write a bunch of gay jokes because I don't know, So I'm like writing shit. I got there. The audience was straighter than I think any audience I ever performed in. So in the middle of my set, I had to like switch things around because it was like, I don't think there was very few gay in the audience, So it was all this shit that I wrote the night before, the weeks before, leading up to this thing did not work. And I knew quickly, and I had to change on the spot because it's the audience. So
yeah, it's
a lot of work is what I'm saying. And I just didn't have enough time to keep doing it that I felt I wanted to be able to do.
The improvisation is like, no matter what the audience is, it's all just understood that this is just pulled out of your ass. So it's all just
right.
contextual, and spur of the moment. So it could,
Right.
So even if it didn't work, it's one of those things like I have a shitty poker face. So if something clearly doesn't work, my face will be like, and then and that kind of works in of itself. So you get people on your side, but having that kind of like almost that like even playing field of understanding where it's like, okay, like you're good at what you do, and you just have an off night. It's like you still get kind of like, oh, you were still good. No one's like that other guy sucked. It's always just like, like the third group sucked. It's more like, oh no, I see what they were trying to do there. But, it's still very. There's a respect.
Yeah.
I guess it's
For sure.
a little pompous to say that, but it's a little. But
I don't want to take over, but as an audience member, I just want to say I've been to a lot of shows where they were one of a kind. So
those are the best ones.
That's for you guys. That's great. And for us, I just want to let you know, audience members that really are into it and know, I mean, it's a one of a kind experience each time. Some are just like I call fire, and it's just, as audience too, we appreciate you guys and for me to have that experience. So thank you.
And it's better to have that experience together. We're on this, we're on the same player. We're in this together. Whatever crazy world this goes on, we're both on this ride together. It's not just like I have all of this material that I've prepared and I've manipulated you, and now we think this is your kind of experience. Like, no, we're both riding.
I sit there, entertain me, peasants.
That is, Billy, that is a huge point though. I feel like comedians who blame the audience, you should never do that, because it's not their responsibility to be entertained. It's your responsibility to entertain them. And I feel like if you bring them along on the journey, I always try to that's what I love about when people try to heckle me, is I'm like, okay, what's your name? All right, Jimmy. All right, we're running everything past Jimmy now. It's bring them in, let them be part of the show. It works so much better. Derek, I want to thank you too, because you actually, when I first started comedy, you had your room going. And that was actually, I was only about 6 months into comedy when I started doing your room, and I really appreciate that.
Of course.
Little tiny room, but it was really fun. It's always really fun.
The room I'm in right now. It's not my bed. It's not my bedroom here. I'm not in bed.
Teeny tiny. It's the teeniest.
It is very tiny. Hence, we're not open.
You got to make sure that you don't step off of the little, 2 by 2.5 by 2 platform that you're on.
Right.
When we just opened up in the city here, the place where we did a show last month when everything opened up, there was like a piece of plastic, just like a sheet of plastic in between like the audience, and it looked like, the best way I can describe it is like, it's from the stage perspective, it's kind of like what a piece of cheese would feel like. Because it was this cellophane square, and we're just like, what's going on? They've since pulled it down because everything's been changed, everything's gone. But Protocol walking up there like, this is
Derek's place. You could actually reach out and touch people in the audience. I mean, you could actually place your wine on the table of the patrons next to you and do your set and reach out and grab it and take a drink.
At UCB, they had people sitting like crisscross applesauce, to be PC.
Indian style.
Well, we don't.
I'm old enough.
Well, that's the thing, is like in here, I mean, like Eerie said, this is like the first place she performed. I mean, this is like, people are actually like 2 feet in front of you, and it's windows, so it's light and bright, so you can see everybody in the room and all the reactions that they have towards you. Whereas most times if you're on stage, you can see like the first 3 rows, people. I mean, this is a place which you can, you get instant feedback because you see the people rolling their eyes, or you do whatever. So, I mean, it's intimidating.
My buddy Danny put I'm sorry. My buddy Danny put a special out, Danny Jollis, and like it's in 6 parts, and each part was done in like a different, like one was like in a surf shop, one was like in a music store, and it was all just clearly just him less than a foot away from everybody. It's only like maybe like 30 chairs, but they were just like in a semicircle around him, and it's just he's just.
I love that though. That's awesome.
Well, I have to tell you, the cool thing about performing there, though, was that even though it was packed and everything, it was very cool because you know, a lot of times if you perform in bars and, you know, when you perform in places that are not traditional performing places to perform,
Right.
there's always like the table where, you know, the girls are there for like a bachelor party and it's just like, they're not even paying any attention to you. And it's like, yes, all 20 people are paying attention to you because you're 3 feet from them. And so that was,
That is true.
that was one nice thing about it. Real quick, we're getting ready to finish up here. I just wanted to, Derek, any future plans? You got anything in the works? What's going on?
First priority is try to keep the theater alive. That's one thing. I do have a few scripts that I'm looking at to decide, you know, if I want to get involved. I just actually got a call today from a producer down in LA that has this project that sounds pretty cool. So I'm, you know, as you know, in the industry, there's always stuff that happens, just whether or not the timing is right. So yeah, I got a script that I wrote years ago that I think the pendulum is turning now after all these years. That it may be time to go back to that one too. So there's always stuff. So
Cool.
Great.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Yeah, I actually I'm only like 15 minutes from Arenda, and I make it we haven't gone to a movie yet, but when we do, I always make sure that I check your movie theater first.
well, thank you.
Very good popcorn, by the way. Excellent popcorn at this place. It's a huge deal. I will not go to a place with shitty popcorn. I will
Well,
not.
most of the chains, just so you know, actually don't pop the popcorn on site. They actually bag it and they'll pop it so people think they're popping it and do a batch, but the rest of it is like in bags that they ship to them. We pop everything here fresh.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. You can tell. You can tell. Billy, you got any future things?
Other than that, I got an improv show on Thursday. I already promoted that. I'm working on screenplays with a couple other comic friends ourselves, just to kind of be creative while we can. Trying to get those out there. So tweaking a couple of other ones we've had done for years. I have last year I shot an HBO miniseries that was contractually obligated to grow my beard down to my chest. Well, it was only not. It wasn't supposed to be that way. I just was supposed to grow the beard, but production was halted for 8 months. I looked like Confederate Yukon Cornelius. But that should come out. I think the fall, provided they don't cut that line. But who cares? As long as I get credit. Yeah, just the same old, just still grinding away. Doing Eerie shows and doing whatever. And
yeah, he's on my Match Game Apocalypse all the time. He's awesome.
Cool.
He's hilarious.
So yeah, just kind of keeping on. That's right. I'm again like good luck, Derek, with the theaters.
Yeah, you too. Yeah. And then also, I forgot to say, I have a book that just got released. I mean, it's by Beyrer Manor Media. It's called 50 Movies That You Haven't Seen That You Should. It's in your bookstores and Amazon and all that good stuff. So.
Oh, Derek, are those?
I know. Sorry to plug.
No, what I was going to say.
Oh,
is
all my movies?
Yes, is it all just movies?
No, because I would be completely. I'd be completely embarrassed. You know, it's so funny because that's what. Recently, somebody just called me. I guess this is a new thing, old thing. This guy calls me up out of the blue, starting this new distribution company. He says, "We want to distribute ice cream," and I'm like, and I never returned the call. I never returned the emails. Then finally, he got me one day. I didn't recognize the number. I took it, and he goes, "Yeah," he said, "We really want to, we're doing this whole thing. We want to do these '80s movies back in the slasher films and this." He said it's a new distribution company, and I'm going, ice cream? I said, are you talking about the remake? Because somebody remade my film.
What?
15 years later. They
No.
remade it. So I thought they was talking about that one. And he goes, no, there was a remake? And I go, yes. And he goes, no, I'm talking about the one that you did in early 90s. And I'm like going, you got to be kidding me. It's like, I have no interest in having anybody see it, but anyways, so that is new that he is coming out with that movie again is going to be coming out on Blu-ray. They're doing a digital remastered crap. I mean, the movie's a piece of crap. I mean, it is horrible. And it's like, but it's so funny that like 30 years later, somebody wants to actually distribute it. And I still get money off that movie to this day, which is, you know, didn't even pay.
That's
my
like
most successful movie.
When you're saying that, all in my head, all I'm thinking is like, what? You want to publish that dick pic that I sent to that girl?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that was a terrible one.
Oh, I
Don't
know. Let
do
me do it
that.
again, please. I got so much more.
I got a friend who works for Trauma, who's done.
Okay, yeah.
So those are all even. I know I'm going to their premiere on July 9th of Slashing the Beginning.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So the guy says, you have a master of it. I said, that was like 30 years ago. I do not have anything from it. You know, it's like, I think I might have the copy of the cover, but that's about it. He goes, oh, well, we have a copy. We can just, if you give us the rights, we'll just digitize this. And I'm like, oh my God. But it's kind of fun. All these years comes back. So
I think that's great, man. Don't. Yeah, I mean, I think that's awesome.
It was a start. It was a start. So
everything old is cool again. I mean, everything old is cool again now.
Right.
I just saw the amusement park by Romero on Cheddar. And it was, you know, it was more like a PSA. It wasn't, you know, but it's still interesting for people that like movies.
Right.
It is. So what's your so let me ask you this really quick and then we'll get out of here. Derek, what is your favorite like goofy slasher movie or goofy movie that you do really like that's not something you produced?
I would say Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay.
Really good.
Original?
Yeah, the original.
I love,
original.
Great,
yeah.
yes.
Okay.
That's what I would go to. I don't like slasher movies, actually. I just made them for a while.
My favorite is Killer Clowns. That's my favorite.
Okay.
You guys have seen that from outer space. Best. Billy, what you got?
I'm a guy. I mean, I'm wearing a leprechaun soccer kit. But when it goes, if it's going down to the 80s cheese, I gotta go Night of the Creeps. Anything with Tom Atkins, really. Just that, like,
Nice.
just that his run of like The Fog, Halloween 3, Night of the Creeps.
Oh, The Fog was so good.
Oh yeah,
good movie. I love that movie.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. The
remix sucked.
The movie's shot by Dean Cundey, the cinematographer of the Back to the Future trilogy, and Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So everything is just gorgeous for this stupid pirate ghost movie. It is the most gorgeously shot ghost pirate movie you'll ever see.
Hey, the music, ting, ting, ting. Come on, so good.
Also, another one that I would choose is actually Ice Cream Man with Clint Howard. He's a creepy. He owns a ice cream truck and he serves the kids and he starts killing off the kids. You know, it was like when his brother Ronnie couldn't give him a job, he worked on. It's called Ice Cream Man. So.
Okay. Yeah. As a different from ice cream.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Ice Cream Man.
Inspiration.
Got it.
Yeah.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes and Cars That Eat People.
If you have Shudder, there's a whole laundry list of really good garbage.
Oh yeah.
I watched Slacks.
Oh yeah, I haven't watched that. Killer mom jeans.
Wait, what's the premise?
All right, so like an Indian girl, where like from India, to preface, gets stuck in a cotton bale, and her spirit goes into these jeans, and she starts and it starts killing people who work at this like really like cunty Gap store.
No.
It's spectacular.
Okay, I'm gonna watch that tonight, Billy.
Absolutely spectacular.
That sounds good.
Like Killer Mom Jeans.
You know how stoned you have to be to write that script? Like, dude, I got the best idea.
The worst part about it is you think like, oh, it's gonna be so dumb, and you put it on, you're like, it's actually there's parts of it that are kind of dumb, but like when they like when the pairs of jeans are walking like the twins from Fantasia. But like it's just there's just so much. Shudder has so much great garbage.
Thank you for that, because I usually like to really be scared, so that
It's a good
Yeah, I don't
it's a good
watch
combination of
anymore,
like
but-
silly and spooky.
it
For-
sounds good though. Yeah.
For evil denim.
Yeah.
All the Evil Dead series is like that. It's amazing. It's like silly and spooky, and it's amazing. And okay. Anyway, enough of that. Thank you guys so much.
You guys were awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's fun.
Yeah,
Thank you so
I got
much.
I got to get running because my friends are coming over because I want to see if I can do senior porn.
Oh, senior.
That was a joke from the. Okay.
He's having a little lemon party. Let him have his lemon party.
So much to actor and improv master, Mr. Billy Beyrer. Thank you.
You
And
guys, you're awesome.
producer Derek, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye, Grimes.
It was a lot of
I really
fun.
appreciate you guys. It was so much fun. I love having you guys. I can't wait to be out in the world with you. I need to come up and see Billy for realsies. And Derek, we'll be seeing each other around. Very good to see you.
Sounds
I'll be
good.
out-
Take care.
I'll be out yonder in 7 months in January.
Sounds good. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.
Okay.
Thank you.